Hello, and welcome to Japanese craft beer reviews. Today we will take a trip to the town of Kamakura, which is located about an hour south of Tokyo. It's a very popular tourist destination in Japan, and there is a brewery there called Kamakura Beer Brewery, and we're going to take a look at a beer that I think is probably pretty new for them. It's called ROUTE134 Beer, and this is so this was brought out in March, so about a little less than a month ago, and I found this at an Echo Eats store, which is a kind of a, I don't know how to describe it, a food remainder store, where things that are almost at their sell-by dates are sold at a considerable discount. And they often have a few beers here and there, and then change them occasionally. And but the beers tend not to be, past their sell-by date or even close. So Kamakura Beer Brewery. Let's talk about them. They were founded in 1997 in the town of Kamakura, and in 1998 they brought out their first beer, which was an alt beer. Back in those days. New breweries in Japan often followed a pattern of bringing out German styles of beer. So many breweries had an alt, a Kelch, and a Pilsner, something like that, or a Dunkel. So for several years, that's the way it was for a lot of new breweries, and some have really never expanded beyond that. In Japan, there's often the sense that beer is German, and so people follow the German style. That's not so true today, of course, but in any case, so their first beer was an alt, and then in 1999 they brought out a pale ale and a brown ale. These kind of basic, kind of uncomplicated styles, and currently the brewery has 13 employees and 4 breweries. Rate beer, there were 17 beers listed for this brewery. And Untapped, there were 109 beers, and I kind of feel that's a bit excessive. There must be a lot of duplicates there. The average is pretty high, though, 3.44. Okay, so in Kamakura, probably the most famous thing in Kamakura is the great Buddha statue. You've probably seen a picture of it, and I'll try to put one here. And it is 11.5 meters tall. It's the second largest Buddha statue in Japan after the one in Todaiji in Nara. Actually Kamakura was the political center of Japan in the late 12th century for about 100 years. It's called the Kamakura period, and then it was replaced by the Muromachi period, the Muromachi government, which was centered in Kyoto. And it's full of temples and shrines and beaches. There's a lot of surfing in Japan. You don't probably associate surfing with Japan, but in say late spring to early fall, a lot of surfing on the Pacific side of Japan. Okay, well, enough about Kamakura Brewery. Let's take a look at this beer, which is called ROUTE134 Beer. And ROUTE134 apparently is the road which runs along the coast around in Kamakura, and we have certainly some images of things in that area. You have Mount Fuji and the beach, and I guess a bus or a train going along it's a train going along the ocean side. This is an IPA, English style IPA, 5.5% alcohol. Do not know the IBUs. And rate beer, no ratings. It's not even listed. Untapped, 57 ratings when I checked, and the average was pretty high, 3.66 out of 5. So again, the label art here is by a man named Hirota Yokoyama, and he lives in the area. And so what we see is Zushi, the marina, and Enoshima Island, and of course Mount Fuji too as well. And apparently they use 4 types of hops, but I don't know what the hops are. They don't say. So this cost 215 yen at the Echo Eats store I mentioned, and so pretty cheap. Before tax, it was under 200 yen, so quite a good price. Shall we give this one a go? I have had a few beers from Kamakura Beer Brewery, and I don't think many of them have really impressed too much, but let's give this one a go. I think the last one I had was Samurai's Reward, and apparently the area around Kamakura was home to a lot of samurai. Okay, it is a kind of hazy, could be chill haze, hazy sort of pastel yellow, with a thin, frothy head of foam, and some noticeable carbonation there on the side. Yeah. Okay, and aroma. Getting a bit of citrus. Some sort of stone fruitiness, but primarily citrus. Definitely citrus, yes. Okay, citrus for sure. Something sweeter behind it, perhaps something like apples, peaches. Yeah. The hops are working pretty well. The malt is very minimal here. Doesn't make much of an impression. It's primarily it's watery, and it does have some hop character. Primarily citrus. 4 types. I wish they'd told me what they'd used. I'm sure they don't feel that most people really would want to know or would care or would even know what the hops were. But this is thin, lightly citrusy, fruity, and that's about it. It doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't make a very strong impression either. English style, well, English style IPA should be have some malt character, and this does not really have much at all. So I don't think I'll recommend this one terribly highly. I wouldn't give it the same score that it has on Untapped, certainly. Perhaps a 3.0, 3.1. Once again, ROUTE134 beer from Kamakura Beer Brewery in Kamakura, Kanagawa, Japan. You may find this somewhere, I don't know. I found it at what's called Echo Eats store. But anyway, yeah, so give it a try and tell me what you think. Leave me a message, and I would like you to subscribe, and let's explore beer together. Take care. Bye-bye.